Good morning. David Bowser, Athletic Director, Head Football Coach, St. Augustine's, doing a weekly press conference. We're going to do an opening statement reflecting back on Saturday's game against Virginia Union. Virginia Union was everything that was advertised as far as being one of the top-ranked teams in the Southeast and also in the country with a great running game. They also were able to show some exploits with their quarterback and their passing game. The defense, I see why it's been ranked nationally as far as one of the top defenses in the country. Great defensive front. I take my hat off and give a lot of credit to Coach Parker and his staff for great preparation. Their overall team did an excellent job. The final score being what it was not indicative of how well I felt we played the first three quarters, but then, teams of that pedigree with that depth eventually wear on you. Them being at home, their depth, they were able to go down to their second and third string running back. Their quarterback was able to find his receivers. The defense was just deep up front, and they were just sending them in waves, it felt like. But I give our kids a lot of credit because at the end of the first quarter, it was 7-0. I thought we played really well defensively. Offense, if you're going to play in the CIAA, you're going to have to be able to run the football, and that's something that we've been struggling with over the last couple of weeks with the injuries that we've had on offense. So we really have to reestablish ourselves with being able to run the football to establish ourselves in this league. The good thing is we now move to the Southern Division. We're now, after all the teams that we've had to play throughout, the first 5 games have a combined record of 20-5. And so we've played a very tough schedule. Non-conference doesn't get any easier this week with playing Fayetteville State, but at least getting to the Southern Division now, you have somebody that you're familiar with, that we've had opportunities to compete against, and we felt like played against very well last year for 3 quarters before once again depth and experience took over. So we're kind of in the process of getting some guys back that have been injured. Some had surgeries and they're going to be out for the rest of the year, so we have to deal with that. But I do commend our young guys for stepping up. And so if I close out before we open up with questions, I just want to say that I continue to be proud of the way our team fights. And as I told the guys afterwards, I said, when you've played the non-conference schedule that we've played the first half of the season, we're to be commended that we're still, coming back every day and working. We had a very good practice this morning, even though it's kind of misty and rainy out there. I thought the kids' enthusiasm was really well. And one of the biggest things that we worked on was a lot more of our 11-on-11 run. Because like I said, you've got to be able to run the football in this league if you're going to be successful. So our focus this morning practice was 11-on-11 run. And I thought the kids, both sides of the ball, met the challenge. And so at this time, I'll open the floor for any questions about anything pertaining to Falcon football. Thank you.
Coach, if we could go back to that game that you guys just came out of here. What have you guys picked up from defensive wise, if you would, facing guys like Jada Byers and the big backs that you have as far as stopping the run, the rushing attack? I mean, it doesn't sound like much. You went for 100, but you held him well under his average there. I think we talked about keeping guys going side to side instead of north to south, but how's your defense adapted and gotten better over the last couple of weeks, especially stopping the run game? Because you faced some monsters.
Yes, I mean, you're talking about 3 straight weeks. We faced very good running backs with Virginia State, Bowie, and then Byers on Saturday. At halftime, we had Byers held to 34 yards rushing. Thought we were doing a great job bottling them up. That forced them to have to throw. And I'll take my hat off to Grant. He wound up throwing the ball pretty well. But what we were able to do is we're getting the hats to the football. We're keeping them going sideways like we talked about a few weeks ago. And what really got him over the 100, Mr. Clark, was he broke one late in the game for a 54-yard touchdown run. But we had him at 114. So it would have been a great accomplishment for our defense if we'd have been able to hold him under 100, but we did hold him well under his average, which the guys were to be commended for. He scored twice, and I'm thinking his average was he was averaging at least 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. So we had a lot of positives from the defensive standpoint. As far as the stopping the run the last several weeks, I thought we did a good job against Hagens, and we did a very good job against the back from Bowie State as well. So I think if anything, if we can just get those young guys on the backside to get more comfortable and shore them up, I think we really have a defense that the scores are deceptive because some of those points are being given up off of turnovers, poor field position, and things like that. But the kids keep battling. So you're absolutely right. They do have a lot to feel good about because they did hold by Byers well under his average on Saturday afternoon.
Next thing I want to ask you about was just the development of the team. It seems, obviously, with the record being what it is, there's a lot of people that would point to that and go, hey, no progress. But the out-of-conference schedule was, I'll just say it, brutal. And then you face the top three teams in your conference, 1, 2, 3, one after the other after the other. Like I said, you look at the schedule and you look at the record and go, hey, nothing's changed here. But talk to me about the progress that these guys have made just a little bit from week 1 till now about, coming together and gelling, because it's definitely noticeable during the games if you're looking at that, not just paying attention to the score.
Right. If you come and you watch, you can tell that we have definitely improved. I think defensively, like you just brought up, our defensive strategy against the run, those guys communicating has improved greatly. Offensively, this will be 3 weeks without Chris Perkins, who truly, hands down, as we've known since game 4 of last year, he is our quarterback. Not taking anything away from Brewington, not taking anything away from Kobe Clifton, two fine guys as far as being quarterbacks, but it's obvious, and we understand that Chris is really our true quarterback right now. And so with him being out, our receiving core, which is pretty doggone good with Proctor and Black, they haven't been able to get the touches that they've been getting. So we had to make some adjustments to get the ball in Proctor's hands. We've lined him up at quarterback. We've lined him up at running back. We've put him at H. So we've got to get the ball in his hand. We didn't really have to do a lot of that when Chris was healthy because he could get the ball to him. So really, we were beginning to gel between that V-State and that Bowie State week. We really saw ourselves growing, and then those injuries after a very physical game with Bowie State set us back because, like I said, you got 8 starters down, and then we lost to Sean Davis in the Bowie game as well. So now we're down 9 starters going into Virginia State game, and hopefully we can get a few back. Miss Knight and her staff have done an outstanding job of rehabbing the guys that are down, but what it's doing is it's building depth for us down the road. So we should have the majority of these guys back by the time we play John C. Smith and Winston-Salem State. So what we're looking at is we're building depth right now in the secondary, but we'll get some of those older guys back. We look to get Perkins back, but at least we know that Brewington and Kobe are getting actual game experience, which you can't replace. And then our offensive line, once it gets healthy, we pick up those 2 guys back, will be better. But you're absolutely right. Injuries, which is a part of the game of football, so you have to deal with that. But when you're gelling, I told the staff the other day in the staff meeting, I said, man, I just really would love to have one game where we have all of our pieces, where, we know that we have the complete team. Then I think I'd love to see where we're going to be. But I think right now we're building depth, and that's what the kids understand. And with our freshmen that are having to play more, that we probably didn't really want to have to play as much, they're getting game experience. And congratulations. 3 years that I've been here, we finally have played our 13th college football game. So you do 3 years and 13 games. It's just a group of guys that they just need to keep playing and learning to continue to fight through the adversity.
So switch focus, if I could, to this week at Fayetteville State. Their guy under center, Kahari Lane, 2nd year in the program down there. They got a run pass option with him. I mean, he can throw the football, run the football, dual threat quarterback. What's it like preparing for him, even, having seen him one time already?
Well, the thing about it is he's improved so much from what we saw last year. He was more of a passer last year, and you're absolutely right. Now he's added the run game to his arsenal, and that's going to be important. So as we're trying to scheme for Fayetteville, which once again, knowing Coach Hayes and the way he does offense, he's always going to have a stable of great backs, and he's got no different. He has Smiley McQueen, who played at Scotland County, Elijah Henry, who has always been a complimentary back, and now he's one of the main guys. Got a young guy named Fenner. So they have a great running game, and then you add a quarterback that can run. I mean, you just added another dynamic that we've got to prepare for. And so what we really got to do is this week with our secondary guys, the safeties are going to have to help on the run support, because when Kari fills those lanes and he understands what's open, if everything's covered, he's going to take those gaps. So we're going to need our safeties to help on the run support. And then the other thing that we got to remember too is they got a young man named Avery McCall, who was from Dillon, South Carolina, played in state championship game all 4 years of high school as a starting quarterback, and they can bring him in, and that's who they brought in last year when we were a 12-10 ball game, and he popped one for a long run that kind of opened the gates against us last year. So we really are going to have to watch the quarterback run because they had success with it last year, and now that Corey's improved his ability to run, we really going to have to be really cautious as we move through that ball game.
Kind of hit on it already, talking about a stable of backs down there, but McQueen last week finally, I think, scored his first touchdown for those guys. Is it easier to just put a faceless back there and just go for the position that you need to say and, fill the gap and fill the hole, hat on a hat? Or do you like to rather key on a guy as far as getting ready for a running back for another team?
Oh no, we're gonna give the guy the respect that they deserve, just like we did last week with Byers. And just speaking on the Byers part, I want to give Tajay McCullough and Marquell Royster, who are two redshirt running backs for us, and they were the closest semblance to what we were going to see with Byers, and they gave us a good look all week. And the scary part is, they popped a couple in practice, and so, I'm sitting there thinking in my mind, if these redshirt freshmen are going to be popping a few, then what's going to happen on Saturday? But it wasn't necessarily the case. What they actually did was they made the guys better. So we're going to use Jaden Hambrick this week, who's a big back for us, and he's going to help simulate McQueen, and then we'll have McCullough and Royster again to simulate Henry, because you really do, like you said, you got to let guys know, and we'll pull best plays, best runs to show them, so that, and send it to them in huddle, so these guys will know what they're looking at. Because you gotta let them know, man, that this guy's real, because a lot of times the worst thing you can do is come into it and underestimate somebody's ability to run the ball. So yeah, we'll put that name with a face because we want them to know they're going against a good one.
Speaking of good ones, last year they had a guy that was way back, NFL caliber back there, got drafted playing for the Chiefs. They got another one back there making plays. Some say that he might be better in Brandon Barnes-Brown. Do you alter where you throw the football, or do you step back like they used to do back in the day and be like, all right, where's Deion? Okay, we're not going to that side. Not to say that he's Deion Sanders. I'm just saying he takes away a part of the field. How does that change your attack on Fayetteville when you're trying to throw the football, coach?
Well, as the guy that recruited Brandon down there to Fayetteville State, I fully understand when he was coming out of Butler High School just how talented he is, and also just his understanding of the game. He's a true defensive back. I think, given an analogy of a Deion is healthy with him, because he's a very smart defensive back. He's a very smart player. He gets his hands on the ball. He does an excellent job. And whether it be press or playing off man, he's very good. So you're absolutely right. He may be as good as Josh, but the one thing that Josh had that was different, Josh met the physical stature. Josh had the speed. He had those things. So that's that. But as far as being comparable to the talent, Brandon is just as talented and just as savvy of a defensive back. So what we're going to have to do is we got to know where he is on the field. We got to look at where he's going to be matching up. I think it's safe to assume that he'll draw Proctor. I think that'll be a great matchup. That's who he'll be covering, but we're not going to shy away from trying to get the ball in Proctor's hands. We just got to be smart when we take our chances, and we still got to take our shots at Brandon, but you just got to be smart when you take them, because he can turn those plays into detriment. I think Chawan did a good job of moving that ball up and down the field, and when Fayetteville needed a play at the end, Brandon made that play to seal the game. So you're absolutely right. We're going to have to know where he is, but we still got to be able to challenge him and not limit ourselves if that matchup happens between him and Proctor. I actually think it'd be a great matchup.
Looking forward to that. You kind of hit on the next question there. Is there anything that Chawan did that you can look at and go, you know what, that exposed something there that we can take advantage of?
Yeah, I think Chawan did an outstanding job. And once again, it goes back to what we got to get better at. I think they did a good job being able to run the ball against Fayetteville. And that's hard to say, because their defensive front, and it's been like that for the last several years, where that defensive line has been really good football players playing football at a high level. But Chawan was able to do some things moving the ball that we're going to work on, and that we looked at and discussed as a staff yesterday in our staff meeting. So you do look at the film and see things that you can emulate, because if they've had success, but then on the flip side, We got to know that Coach Hayes, being a veteran coach that he is, and the success that he's had, anything that he felt like was a kink in their armor, I guarantee you they're working on fixing it, and they've practiced it and they're going to practice it. So you have to be like really sharp about taking those shots and getting those opportunities. But you also got to understand that, you know, they're not trying to get beat 2 weeks in a row on certain things. So they definitely have tried to clean those up and make the adjustments. So we have to still be creative and put some things in there that we can do well. And I think that's what we're going to look for. But Juwan did show us a few things that we felt like may help us in the run game.
And the last one here, I'll stop hogging the press conference. I wanted to know, I hadn't been able to get down to a game at Luther Nick Gerald Stadium because of schedules and conflicts and places that I had to be. Last week was my first one on a Thursday night, no less. And that environment was unlike just about anything I think I'd seen. You've obviously been there quite a bit. And last year you faced that squad at home up off Oakwood Avenue. How different is it? How much tougher is it going to be to get the full on, you know, Fayetteville State mighty Broncos in their home stadium at Luther Nick Gerald's? And what are you telling these guys to get ready for about it, Coach?
Well, I just want them to understand that when you're at a place and having been there for 20 years and saw what it was like, and the commitment that has been made through the administration and leadership to get their athletic programs up to a high level, the facilities, the game day atmosphere is to be commended. You're gonna see it firsthand, and then on top of that, they made us homecoming as well. So that adds another 6,000 or 7,000 people to the atmosphere. So it's gonna be something. The main thing that I've been focusing with our guys on is the ability to stay in the moment. We went up to Virginia State, as you know. That's a tough atmosphere. I got to give Virginia Union credit. They've done some modifications to their stadium, upgraded some facilities, and on Saturday they had a great atmosphere. So the music, the cheerleaders, the whole game day is going to be something. And if you caught it on a Thursday evening, Saturday at 2:00, when everybody's in town after the parade, the homecoming atmosphere, it's going to be something. But what our guys got to do is we just got to stay in the moment. And we got to understand that's a good football team. So they're going to make some plays, and we just got to stay locked in and not get caught up in staring around or being in awe of everything. We just got to stay locked in and do our job, which I think the guys have done a good job of doing that. But it's a different kind of atmosphere for college football on a Saturday afternoon. And it's going to be exciting to get back there, but not going there to enjoy it, but going there to try to spoil it. So that's our plan.
I don't think it's quite like that guy at Bowman Gray for Winston-Salem calling you out on the PA, but It definitely was an experience that I was a little bit like in awe of, to be honest with you, especially when they won. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mr. Clark. Thank you. So at this point, if anybody else has any questions, we'll open the floor back up. Again, I want to thank Mr. Clark from WNCN for always following not only just us, but Shaw University, Fayetteville State, and his support for the CIAA. And that's big. I think that's really big because as we all know, we play quality sports and athletics. We got very good football in our league, and he helps to promote that. And I really appreciate all of that. So if there's anybody else at this time that has any questions before I do closing remarks. Okay, so what I'd like to say is that we're excited about the opportunity going into the Southern Division this Saturday. As I told the guys this morning, we move into phase 3 of the season. You have your non-conference schedule, you have your crossover schedule. Now you get to the Southern Division. These are the teams that you see year in and year out. These are the teams that we have the biggest, best relationships with because we spend more time recruiting the same kids. So it's very exciting and helpful that we'll be able to go down to Fayetteville on Saturday, play them for their homecoming. We expect it to be a great ball game. Both teams are playing really well on defense. Somebody is going to definitely have to be able to establish the run on Saturday. We're expecting great atmosphere. We just want everybody in the area that can come down and support us. The guys are continuing to work hard. I feel like, and I know in my heart, and you guys know it as well, that we're just waiting for that one thing to turn, and you need that opportunity. And I think this Saturday could be a good opportunity for us as a team to get a quality win and then see where the rest of the season can take us. I'm proud of them for the way they fought the first 5 weeks, because as of last week, but I think it'll change this week, in Division II, we had the second toughest schedule in the country. But after playing Union, I feel like we should have number one toughest schedule in Division II. And our kids are to be commended for the fact that they came out every week and fought and battled and have gotten better. And then the other thing too that I look forward to is that after this week, we get a 3-week home stretch, and we're really looking forward to that. We'll be having homecoming on October the 15th. Then we have Winston-Salem coming to town, and then Livingstone to close out for Senior Day. And then the last game of the season to see what happens after that is we go over and play the rival Shaw in the Raleigh Classic. So we're really excited about the rest of this season. Hope you guys will come out and support and just continue to follow Falcon football as we progress through the rest of this season. This evening, if you're available, please come over to campus. Volleyball team has a home match against Claflin at 6 o'clock. They had a great showing at the roundup this past weekend. They won the other night against Livingstone. So come out and support our volleyball team. Cross country will be running soon. They've finished second and third in their last couple of meets. So we're really trending in a good direction. We're excited about the progress. Basketball will be opening up practices next weekend. They're doing their photo shoots on the 6th, our men's and women's program. 2 dynamic coaches there. Indoor track is about to be underway. Golf is going to possibly get some fall schedule in. So there's a lot of great things happening here on 1315 Oakwood Avenue in athletics, and we're excited about that. We just thank you for supporting us, and we look forward to everything, and we'll see you guys next week. And if you have anything that you have or anything, please reach out. Outstanding department of professionals that are doing an excellent job in helping with these young people's college experience. Thank you, and see you guys next week.